Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Timothy Adon, and I am back with another update on my progress on the horror theme. Last time I did a progress update on the mystical forest track, and before that I did the adventure theme. So I figured going from the mystical track to this was a little bit of a natural evolution of things. Say you go into the forest and it's all fantastic and obviously mystical and something enchanting about it, but then you get on deeper into the forest and all of a sudden things start to take a more sinister look, a more sinister hue as you get deeper in and the trees begin to get all gnarly and the darker spirits begin to come out of the forest. You know, something like that. So, I want to tell you what is going into this and how it is progressing so far. So, if you've listened to the preview track that is on the front page of the Kickstarter, you will already have a pretty good hint as to what it's going to end up sounding like. And it's really not going to deviate too much from there. It is going to be slow, it's going to be purposeful, and it's going to leave a little bit of an itch at the back of your neck if you understand what I'm meaning right there. So, to start off, I have the Tibetan prayer, which is actually something that you tend to see in horror movies or horror games. Is there's always that one sound that's kind of in the background, kind of feeling like it's all by itself and a little bit out of place. So, like this. So in this case, I'm using bells as that sound, and sometimes when the main character goes into the haunted house, there will be chimes on the front porch where as they walk in, a slow wind generally pushes them just into chiming. So I've got that. And then as my primary stringed instrument again, I've got the koto doing a haunting rhythm, not all throughout the piece, mind you, just to kind of set a flavor in this earlier part, and then it makes reappearances throughout the piece. Then down here, probably the main undertone that you'll generally hear is the giant Buddha bell. And when looking this up, the giant Buddha bell is literally just a really big bell. And it's usually a cast, probably copper. I didn't look up actual materials of what the bells are made of, but they are generally either hit like a normal bell, or the way that it's being played in this piece, bowed and vibrated like a more like a stringed instrument, but on the bell, and you get a whoa type of sound. And on top of that, which adds a complete extra flavor, is if you play the sample for long enough, it makes a buzzing noise, like a zzz, which just totally fits. It's so perfect. So let me show you that really quick. So that drone does end up going through a vast majority of the piece, but it does take breaks here and there. And the the low droning seems very, to me it just feels very characteristic of what you might find in a horror film or game. So next after that, also adding to the maddeningness, the maddening nature of the dark undertones of the giant Buddha bell is the Bode Crotales. When a main character starts to go insane, that's probably the first thing you start to hear. You'll just start hearing high-pitched screeches or rings. So this piece, it goes back and forth between being merely a background to having an actual melody. All of the other pieces, there's generally a melody going all the way through, but there are some moments when there's nothing happening except for just sounds in the background, like the giant Buddha bell, or in this section, breathing. Literally just breathing. And that will, given that you want the players to be paying attention to what is going on in your game as much as possible, especially during more intense storytelling moments. Parts like this greatly help kind of focus in on the story and then, you know, give them more of an opportunity to be freaked out at anything you might decide to throw at your players. So here's so here's a segment with the breathing. Obviously, I did mention, I mentioned earlier, and I should probably clarify, I mentioned earlier the maddening nature of the Buddha bell and the Bode Crotales, but I want to mention that I'm not actually trying to make people go insane, in the good sense or the bad sense, because if the music did that, then they obviously wouldn't be paying much attention to the game itself. I'm more thinking from an atmospheric point of view. It will hopefully put players on the edge of their seats, as it were, anticipating an actual monster coming out to get them. Now, something else that you ended up hearing was a loud gong sound. That also came from the giant Buddha bells, more stereotypical bell ringing. And then down here, I have string effects, which was the growl sound that you heard. And things like that are kind of peppered in with the rest of the piece to add a little bit of extra flavor and give a little bit of something for the players to be scared of randomly. However, if that doesn't seem very fitting, then let me know. I kind of peppered these in for flavor, you know, a little bit of salt and pepper. And I had a lot of fun I had a lot of fun doing it. Mostly just the imagination kind of getting to me with what people might think listening to this. But if you think that might be a little bit too much in your game or just for listening to, then let me know. So now I've got down here, I've got the Penderecki, which is, okay, shouldn't say the Penderecki. I have it labeled here as that. That is actually a, yes, violins. Penderecki is a form of playing the violin. And you'll see right here. Makes it sound a lot like insects skittering around. And then, last but not least, actually, I do have a couple other things going on, but they're like the double effects, and they're just monster sounds that I, as I mentioned, peppered in. So the last track I need to mention is this track labeled Mach 5. And this is something that I've been testing, something that I have been testing. Now, what Mach 5 is a sampler much like Isotope Iris. You take a sound sample, something that you've recorded, you plug it in, you assign it to a certain key set, and then you can modify it however the heck you want. Now, that's the short version. There's a ton of different things that you can do here, but that's the basics. Now, the recording that's in here is one of the bloopers. I don't think it's a blooper that made it into the video, but that's what this is, and it's I think it's reversed and heavily slowed down. So let's just listen to that, and you can hear what that sound is. Alright, so that is what it sounds like modified. Here is the original, just so that you know. Alright, so there you go. You got to hear one of my bloopers, and you got to hear what that blooper ended up turning into. I plan on using Mach 5 for a lot more in this, because I have a lot of leeway. Not leeway. I have a lot of capabilities within the Mach 5 software for modifying something and making it horrifying and scary, and either making it loud and boisterous and upfront, or having it be a background sound like either the giant Buddha bells or the terrifying blooper recording. And that is what is going in to the horror track. So I've got a fair amount of work done on this, and it is going to remain as more of a background track than the rest of the tracks, because you don't necessarily want something that is supposed to be scary be up front where everybody can see it, because then it kind of loses its value. You want it to be in the back where it's only barely going to be noticed. And that is what I have for you right now. I will post up the updated version of the horror track soon, and I will get to work on another track shortly after this. There are a couple things towards the end of this that I need to work on, but then once I'm done with that, yeah, like right about here, once I'm done with that, I'm going to start working on another track, and then the next video for that track. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you again very soon. Oh, and make sure, if you think of any changes that would be great to make to any of the tracks or the Kickstarter or the rewards or the add-ons, anything of that nature, or even these videos, or if you have any other ideas, or even if you just want to talk, I am all for that. Then let me know, send me a message, post a comment, post something. And yeah, so I will talk to you again very soon. Bye-bye.